different tweets. Let's see. So I have some funny stuff, and then I got some serious stuff. Let's look at the funny stuff first. Okay. Yo, okay, this, I'm not gonna lie, this isn't even funny, but I randomly saw this scrolling. Let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. Let's see what I got below first. Let's see what I got below first. Okay, we saw this. No, they deleted it. They disabled. Okay, we saw this. Okay, I saw this, guys. So they said Bad Bunny addresses his phone tossing controversy in the opening track of his new album. Tú no eres mi fan real, por eso te tiré el celular. He said, you're not really my fan. That's why I threw your phone. I remember this. This was a whole controversy. Like, it was a few months ago. Bad Bunny minding his business, walking on the fucking street, right? And here come this person. Can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? She's all in his face, whatever. It's this girl, I think. He threw her phone. So I don't know. Do y'all think he was wrong for this? I'm not gonna lie. Was it nice? No, he should definitely pay to replace it, but that's nothing to him. He should pay to replace it. It was an asshole move, but what I will say, like, girl, it's the way she was in his personal space. Like, girl, she all on this man. Like, you lucky he didn't bop your ass. And I'm not even talking about no abuse shit, because if a grown man come up to me, I'm walking on the street, right? Grown men leaning all up on me, recording me, I'm sorry, I might hit that nigga or spray some pepper spray on his ass or something. No cap. I'm keeping it real, chat. I'm keeping it real. She all in his face. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard for me to be like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Because I feel like when you're this level of famous, you deal with people coming to your space all the time, and you always have to be nice, and you don't get to have personal boundaries because people are gonna be like, oh no, they're being mean, you know, type shit. And I don't know, if we wouldn't do it to a regular person, why do we have to do it to somebody just because they're famous? That's just my logic, though. That's how I think about it. That's just me, though. Yeah, it's a good game. Okay, we're gonna play again. I re-downloaded Fortnite, so I'll get on at some point soon. Tomorrow, probably. Okay, y'all, look at this shit, bro. Chat, I want you guys to look at this, okay? Marc Jacobs model stunts in new XL sack bag campaign. I just want y'all to see what I saw. Is it just me? Is it me not understanding fashion? Or like, what is it? Is it really me? I think it's y'all fashion people. I think y'all just do crazy shit and oh my god, it's high fashion. It's high fashion. Yeah, maybe I'm the dumb one, but can somebody explain to me, like, why is she rolling down the stairs like a trash bag? Anybody? Anybody got a good answer for that? I'm just saying. Had to get that TikTok clip. There we go. Publish. Bro, please, somebody tell me. Somebody's gonna say, this is art. Okay, I saw this. Okay, what is this? Let's see. This said Jada Pinkett Smith reveals that Tupac proposed to her while he was in jail. Jada and Tupac met at Baltimore School of Arts as teenagers.
Proposed to you while
Can y'all hear? I gotta turn it up. Chat, what is this? Chat, I just want y'all to hear this clip. Like, what is she talking about?
he was in jail.
I talk about
A lot of people might not know, but he proposed to you while he was in jail.
this in the book when I go to see him in Rikers, when I wrote about that in the book and when I had to talk about it, speak my words for the audible version of the book. That was probably one of the more painful parts, seeing him there, the condition that he was in, and having to leave him there. And he was in bad shape. And so when he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers. And I knew at that time that he needed somebody to do time with him, which I was going to do anyway. You didn't have to marry me to do time, right? I'm here.
I see why we love you.
And then but he needed a rock.
I'm not gonna lie. Forget the story. I like her hair. It reminds me of I don't know why, but it reminds me of the what's that ice cream with the strawberry? It's like pink and white. I don't know why it reminds me of the ice cream. The strawberry shortcake ice cream that you get from the truck.
Because of our friendship and because of everything we had been through together, he just wanted...
Y'all gonna be like, how did you get that? And I would ask the same question, honestly, because now it looks kind of orange. I don't know what I was seeing.
To feel that solidified foundation. You know, because I promise you, he would have married me.
Okay, now it looks orange.
He would have.
Right.
I'll be real with it.
Right. Because so many people in that position don't have support.
Right.
None at all.
None. You know?
And he got the best.
Right. He was just like, look. And I just think it was the mind state that he was in. You know? He wrote me this long letter. And I think even before Pac went to jail, he was starting to trend.
Not too much, bestie. Not too much. All right.
Shift in a certain manner.
Good or bad?
Good. Really good.
Strawberry blonde. Okay, strawberry.
And I think that for him, he just felt like, okay.
It looks good on her, though.
Tether myself. It'll keep me on a trajectory.
Okay, girl. Anywho, it wasn't too many actually funny things. So yeah, we're gonna get to the news after this. Yeah, oh, this is some crazy shit. This is some crazy shit. But then let's get some background music. Let's get StreamCloud up in here. So we're gonna do a little news. Okay, yeah, we're somewhat on track, but not really. So let's see. Let's get to the more light stuff before I even touch the more deep shit. Let's see. I'm dead, bro. Let's listen to this man clip. I want to hear what he said first. Because I saw the response, but I didn't hear what he said.
You will walk past a white person and say, excuse me, sir. Walk past a black man and say, move, nigga. That's a sickness. Yeah. That's a disease, bro. And it's a disease
Who says that?
You can't get away with just no speech. I can look through.
Who says that? I've never walked past a black person and they said, move, nigga. Never in my life. What is he talking about? This man is he's literally making shit up. What point is he trying to make? No black person has ever said, move, nigga. If anything, the black people I've been around have been more polite. What the fuck? He's chatting right now.
Disease, bro. And it's a disease that you can't get away with just no speech.
He's
I
so
can look
serious.
through a black man and tell if that man want to kill himself. He can be smiling as big as day, and I can tell when he hurting. Because
okay, I can respect that. You know, men are very good at hiding depression. That's true.
The eyes is the chamber to the soul. Yeah. If the eyes don't match the smile is not real. You will walk.
Okay, I don't know how that was connected. I don't know how that was connected. Bro got it, bro. The rudest phrase a black man's ever said to me was "pardon yourself," but that's not even. Oh man. Somebody say in the South y'all can hate each other, somebody will still most likely mumble "excuse me," right? Yes, that's so facts. But it's not race, it's area. Like it be everyone, right? Because if you go to New York, nobody is saying "excuse me." Literally nobody. No fucking body. Now chat, what y'all think about this video? This video has been trending and going around and around and around on Twitter, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When I first saw this, I thought this video was fake. I don't know, y'all tell me though. Y'all tell me what y'all think, if this is real or not, because you know they're starting a whole fucking discourse about this, bro. They're starting a whole discourse. I don't know. I'm gonna watch it. I didn't actually watch the whole thing. I watched like 10 seconds and I was like, fuck this, I'm watching on stream. I can't waste my own time. Like, I was like, I can't waste my own time in my own day on this shit. We're gonna watch it together. What's good, J. Luke? How you been, fam? Welcome on in. Cheesecake Factory is good. It is. It is. The cheesecake is. Everything else mid, but it's nothing to complain about. Chat, I'm not complaining about no food that somebody else is paying for unless they ask me what I want. But if I let them pick it and they pick somewhere, what do I look like complaining? Okay, so they said first date, she refused to get out the car because he took her to the Cheesecake Factory. The dating pool is full of piss and shit. That's why I'm focused on my peace, my business, my money. Honestly, here's my thing. The people like this that make these type of posts, why do y'all think they make these posts? Do y'all think it's because they actually care about y'all and they actually want you guys to have good relationships? Or do y'all think it's because they're bitter and they're sad and they're lonely and they want to make other people feel the same way? I'm just asking y'all, what do y'all think is the purpose of it? Regardless if things did or didn't happen. I feel like people like this, they feel so disgruntled with their dating experience that they're like, oh my God, I need to get validation from other people. I need to post something that's going to get people riled up and get them on my side and make them feel bad and depressed about dating. Because I just feel like if my dating experience bad, why do I need to complain to other people that dating sucks? I don't know. I think there's points to be made about like where society's at, but I really wonder, like with these type of posts, they're trying to get a certain like reaction and feeling out of people, and I'm just personally not a fan of like trying to make people feel worse about themselves or potential people that they meet, because then it's like when you keep seeing it over and over again, that shit makes you like expect certain negative stuff from people that you might meet. And I just feel like it's toxic for both sides, like, you know. And I'm like, where's people trying to encourage healthy relationships? Where's the people like, oh, whatever relationship I'm gonna get in, I'm about to you know, make sure I don't go through that weak ass shit. Look at her face, she know what she doing, right? Like, I don't know, bro. This shit look like a skit to me, but I'm gonna click it. Arcadia said, me and my GF talk about the shit that we went through, how rude people can be. I feel like there are a lot of people like that. Where she wanted to go, I don't even know. Let's see. Let's watch the video. I'm gonna stop chatting.
Woo. Let me just get the door for you. Okay.
Do y'all think this real or a skit?
He got me at the Cheesecake Factory, y'all. I ain't getting out this car.
Girl, she said, stop.
Yes. Would you want me to open the door for you?
Are they in Atlanta?
Yeah.
It looked like they're in Atlanta.
This is the Cheesecake Factory. This is the Cheesecake Factory, y'all.
Girl, I'm sorry. I
This
just
is a
can't take
chain
this
restaurant.
seriously.
Who takes someone that looks like this to a chain restaurant?
You want to talk about it? I'm fine with talking about it, even in front of them.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about it. Yeah, come on, get up on in the car. Yeah, we gonna talk.
I'm dead, bro. I'm sorry. Either she's a bot, she's an NPC. This is a skit. Bro, I'm sorry. Okay, let's see the second video, y'all. They said there's another video.
Not gonna be there. And maybe we're not right for each other.
Okay.
So respectfully, I'm gonna just drop you off at home.
Oh no, he didn't.
Girl, why is she talking like she's in the third person,
you
bro?
just want to call it a night? I mean,
Yeah.
isn't there some kind of compromise or something?
Girl, she recording. I can't
Ladies,
take it
can you believe
serious.
this?
I'm sorry, y'all.
I can't take this. I
Yeah,
really can't. I'm sorry.
If I don't feel respected, I am not gonna go through with the rest of the day.
Well, I mean, you are serious. You're really leaving.
I'm sorry,
You
bro.
don't want this place anyway, right?
I mean, I understand that I was late. I understand that. I understand that I could have been a bit more cooperative. You made some good points. That's why I'm willing to compromise. Are you sure you want to go home?
I don't have a lot of rules. I don't have a lot of expectations for a first date, but I've already set them, and you've broken every one.
Oh
So
my God.
I'm sorry.
W fucking script, bro.
You off home.
This reminds me of when you date this sign videos. Trying said she's right. She should have got ticket to McDonald's. Not even a dieted. Take that motherfucker to the drive-thru.
I understand. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Bro, I'm confused on why she recorded. Chat, are y'all taking this fucking serious? I need to see something else. I need to see something else. Hold on. They said there was another video. They posted another video somewhere. But wait, there's more? Okay,
In the
thank you.
Cheesecake Factory.
There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
will die. That's
Okay.
embarrassing.
Listen, as I said, I have very specific certain expectations for that.
No.
I can tell it's not gonna be there. And maybe we're not right for each other. So respectfully, I'm gonna just drop you off at home.
Oh no, he didn't.
It's a joke about how bad dating is not real.
So, you just
Okay, that must be it. Nah, this is bruh. He had reservations at a nicer restaurant. She made them miss it, so he took her to cheesecake. I don't know, bro. I just can't take this seriously, bro. I don't know. 5-star restaurant ticket. Take it to Roosters. It's supposed to be extreme to drive the point home.
Right?
yes.
What's wrong with the Cheesecake Factory? Right?
Yes, there's a lot wrong with the Cheesecake Factory.
Okay. Well, look at my planner where we were gonna go originally.
See, now that's where we should have went. All right there. Call him.
No.
What do you mean no?
See,
I know you
specifically
didn't.
told you both yesterday and this morning that I'd come to pick you up at 4 p.m. Right? And I got to your place at 4 p.m. You didn't even come downstairs for another hour, and so I was waiting downstairs.
I can't take this seriously being
I wasn't
recorded.
expecting for work to take me so long. I got home a little late.
Wrong with
Bro, I'm sorry. This is giving skit, bro. This reminds me of those Vine skits and those YouTube skits. Be mad at the girl that recorded it, not me. Nah, she got it, bro. She got it. Let's go back. Looks like he dodged a bullet. I don't know. I can't take it seriously, bro. I can't. like have standards, kings and queens. That's all I can say to both sides. Have standards, kings and fucking queens. Okay, let's get to the news, guys. So we got a little update on the Israel-Palestine conflict. So the latest is not great. So there was this thing called what is it called? White phosphorus that Israel released on Gaza. I heard it was a rumor, but I guess since then it's been confirmed, which just is unfortunate. They said it can tear through bone and flesh and stuff. Like, what the fuck? They said it's not unlawful. Okay, great. Cool. It's alleged to be white phosphorus. Okay, all I know is they're dropping chemicals, and when Russia was dropping chemicals on people, they acted like it was the end of the world. So what's this? This says incendiary weapons. What's this? Education video. Flammable substances. Yeah, they said it's not illegal. I know people be just saying shit. Yo, what's good, Patro? Yeah, they be having their capes out on Twitter. They can be dropped from the air or fired from the ground in rockets or artillery shells. So this is what this is. It's an incendiary weapon. Notorious for their horrific human cause, they inflict excruciating burns, respiratory damage, organ failure. What the fuck? What? They start fires that can spread to civilian homes. Damn. They've been used in several recent conflicts around the world. The use is governed by the Convention of Conventional Weapons. But this international treaty has loopholes and should be amended. Ah, fuck, of course it has loopholes. Should cover multi-purpose munitions with incendiary effects such as white phosphorus. Ah, so that's probably what they meant, that there was a loophole for them to be able to use it. Of course they haven't updated it. Damn. Countries should strengthen international law and incendiary weapons to better protect. They're not gonna do it because they use it in areas where they're trying to make money and get their footprint. That's the fucking sad part. Yo, I saw this story. This is crazy. We as humans can do nothing. How is there a loophole? Man, you telling me. How you doing today, Patro? Thank you so much for stopping in. Yo, I saw this morning. This is fucking insane. They said the Dominican Republic is locking up anybody darker than a paper bag under the assumption they are Haitian, even Black Americans. So that makes sense. They stand on the side. Oh, they're supporting Israel. Ah, okay. U.S. warrants is darker skinned citizens of Dominican Republic's migrant crackdown. Haitian migrants are being deported from the Caribbean country, and authorities seems to be targeting people based on their appearance. Yeah, that's fucking insane. Little light, you know, segregation, you know? That's just crazy, and it's just so casual. Just got home from work. Let's go. You got any plans for today? Let's check out this video. You know, people on TikTok be trying to educate. Oh yes, bro, we gotta learn, chat. We gotta learn. Yo, so I've been doing my research, chat, because you know I gotta come to the table. Oh, why is it not? Oh, they don't want to let me.
Myself about Palestine and Israel.
Okay, so chat, I've been educating myself on this whole Palestine-Israel thing. And one of the things that was very damning to me through my research is the fact that there is a tie between
educating myself about
there's a connection between the Israeli government funding Hamas, the terrorist organization Hamas, or terrorists, yeah, terrorists, because they're not the ones in power, but I digress. But Israel has funded Hamas and actually propped them up instead of another group that was just like a normal governing body that the people wanted. The people in Palestine wanted a regular governing body, but Israel propped up Hamas because it would be easier to target them if they had a group to like target and say, hey, this is the reason that we're attacking all of these people, because it is one group, you know? Like, imagine. It's just sad. So we're gonna listen. Let's see what she got. I got some more better sources than this, but let's just see what she has to say.
And what
They said TikTok deleted the video, so it must be something good.
was going on, I was very stressed at first because this had always been framed as something that was this long history that was so complicated, that was so complex that the average person would just never be able to understand. And I genuinely believe that that is a tactic used by Western powers and Western media to deter their populations from going and doing just even small amounts of research and employing critical thinking skills. Because I think if you lay the facts out just clearly, any sane, logical person can only come away with one conclusion, and that's free Palestine. It's like, it's really easy, especially when you're not educated on this topic at all, to drown under all the propaganda and disinformation that's constantly being shared. And that's by reputable sources. This is by journalists and heads of states and whole governments telling you this. It's really easy to believe in the lies and the narratives that they're trying to paint out, and I think that's why I genuinely have a couple basic points that help me understand what's real and what's not, and I'm gonna share them. My first
I already know,
point being,
you know, what I'm thinking when I'm watching this. I'm not gonna lie. The first thing I'm thinking when I'm watching this, they've definitely already doxed this girl. Because number one, she's black. The other disturbing thing that I've seen over the week has been reports of different organizations going out their way to dox, get in contact with potential employers, get in contact with past employers of black and brown student organizations at colleges who have put out support statements for Palestine. That has easily been the most disturbing thing that I've seen outside of what is directly happening. But like here in the United States, like students from Harvard Students Association put out a statement condemning the violence, but saying that they support Palestine, and they literally doxed those students. They found their home addresses, they found their past employment of people who were future employing them, all types of stuff. And what's interesting to me is that Israeli student organizations all around the country have also put out statements supporting Palestine, but yet these groups did not target the Israeli student associations, even though their statements are saying the same thing. So that's really what I'm thinking about this girl. I'm praying for her safety, because some people are really fucking crazy. And I saw firsthand today how quickly somebody can switch on you as soon as you start to question some of the stuff that they believe without them doing any critical thinking. I had to deal with losing a friend, which it's a question if we were actually friends in the first place based off what he said, who lives in Israel. We've talked about some complex issues before, but today he felt like because I said that I can't, you know, I was playing a game and he's like, oh, fight for Israel. Like, he's trying to be funny, like, fight for Israel, like in the game, like, you know, play the game for Israel. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Like, I'm not gonna even playfully joke about something like that, because at the end of the day, the Israeli military and government has terrorized people who had nothing to do with any of the violence that's happened. So no, I'm not gonna fight for them, like in the game or whatever the fuck he's trying to say. And you know, his response was that I was evil, I'm an evil person. He hopes something like that happens in my hood, so I understand, which definitely has plenty of racial undertones. So like, you have to ask yourself, like, where do you stand with certain type of stuff? Because if me saying that your government has hurt innocent people offends you, I don't know what to say. It's a fact. You know, I'm like, okay, let's look at the, you know, the amount of children that have died in this conflict. Palestine is over 45% young people, and I literally mean like people under 16. That is 46% of Palestinians. So a lot of these people that have already died before it was officially a war were kids. 2023 was the worst year on record for Palestinian children. So why is it that when I bring this up, you know, it's like, if it's controversial for me to bring something like that, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You know, he told me it was propaganda. He told me everything that the Israeli military has been documented by objective sources, mind you. This is not from Hamas. This is from humanitarian organizations internationally that have documented the things that have happened over the years. It's a 100-to-1 death ratio for Palestinians to Israeli people. Does that mean the 1 out of every 100 for Israel doesn't matter? Absolutely not. It does matter. It sucks if people who have nothing to do with it die. But the reality is, if you can acknowledge that it's disproportionately on one side and disproportionately on the side of the people who are disempowered, they don't have their own military, they don't have their own government, they don't have all these weapons and big countries backing them. In fact, most of the big countries are against them. You know, what about those people who are losing family members who literally don't have anything to do with the shit going on? You know, it's like we demand empathy for one side and turn a blind eye to the other, and you're fucking cheering on war for the other side. That's very strange. And you know, for someone to think that we say open warfare with people, with their own people, is not the way. I mean, if this does not go well because of people like him here are gonna be harmed. Yeah, pretty much, right? Right, that makes sense. Yo, kids, W-Raid. Like, this is gonna birth a lot of anti-Jewish mentality because the world has been begging for change. Okay, but here's my thing. If we're talking about anti-Jewish mentality, we need to condemn the Israeli government. They are literally creating that sentiment by doing what they're doing. So if we really care about how, thank you so much, Gantz, if we really care about how Jewish people are looked at, why are we not condemning what their government is doing? Like, for the people who genuinely care, about Jewish people, they should be the main ones like, hey, government, stop doing what you're doing. This is making us look bad. This is not what we stand for. And there are some of them out there. I've seen them. I've seen the ones in the streets trying to fight against the ones, but they're outnumbered. That's just the real tea. The real tea is that they're outnumbered. The real tea is that a lot of people feel like they have a religious right to the land, which we're not going to debate that. But that is some reason to go ahead and start trying to fucking genocide a group of people. Like, this is gonna birth a lot of anti-Jewish mentality because the world has been begging for change. I'm really worried because America, when called out, will just blame Jewish Americans, not our own government supporting them. No, what? If anybody has any fucking sense, they will understand that our government is in cahoots with Israel's government because they both have the same agenda. They both have something to gain from the situation. It's that simple, and they're using their religion to get their political agenda across. That's the real tea. Like, they both have something in common in terms of trying to gain power politically, and they're using their religion as a vehicle to do that, which clouts it up so much because then people start getting the religion confused with the government, and then the government is making it confusing because they're using the religion as the main thing. They're using their superiority as the main reason why they're doing a lot of this. So of course to outsiders is gonna look like what it is. They feel like they're entitled to land because of their religion, and other people feel like that doesn't really matter in this case since people are already here. But they're like, no, fuck that, we don't care, we deserve to be here. So it's like, yeah, that's gonna cause a little bit of confusion, right? Because if you have a bunch of people that are agreeing with it, what else are they supposed to think? I don't know. It'll become hard to separate what is happening there with whom. They blamed us for BLM. Are we for real? Racist Jewish people own the government. Racists say Jewish people own the government. That shit legit causes backlash. It's giving right-wingers a lot of ammo. The talking points of Republicans are never logical. It's never the government's fault. It's black, brown, or everyone else. Yeah, they just want. Yeah, that's the shit that's like bothering me, is that they have all the power. The Israeli government has the power to go to war. The other side doesn't really have the power to go to war. And it's like, is it really a war if both sides are not equal? I don't know if I'm looking at that as a war. I'm kind of looking at that as a genocide, just like with Jewish people in the Holocaust. Would you say that was a war between Jewish people and the Germans? I don't fucking think so. That was not a war. That was a attempted genocide. Was it a war between the slaves and slave owners? Hell no, it wasn't a war. That was damn near genocide and slavery. So it's like, I think we gotta acknowledge if they're both fighting in America, come in, take it over, it's the Christian holy war. Oh, please, God. I hope they don't send any of our soldiers over there. Like, I really don't. Because I would hate for these people to be dying or whatever to protect some dumb shit. Like, it literally does not have to be like this. That's the thing. It literally does not have to be like this. But some people feel entitled to like the land and feel like they don't have to treat other people like human beings because they don't feel like they deserve their respect at the end of the day. Bessie said, after all, Republicans oftentimes brand themselves as being on the right side of the Bible. Yeah, exactly. They more closely align with the Jewish people and ideology of being chosen people or chosen land. Yeah, I think a lot of them, the conservatives are weird because I think a lot of them don't like Jewish people. I think a lot of them don't like them, but there are some, but then it's weird because some of them don't like them and then some of them support them because they agree with their interpretation of like the Bible, or they want to be on the right side of God's chosen people. Like Joe Biden. I don't care what y'all say, his party tag is not Republican, but Joe Biden is a conservative man. He's a like actual Republican, just disguised in blue, and he's been on that since back in the day. As he said, Jewish people are in very high places, industry, government. They have a lot of power, so much power, it becomes the insult to acknowledge how powerful they are. Yeah. I'm honestly, you know, I gotta talk about that one offline, but I do find it interesting how they've somehow turned it into an insult to bring up the people that are in power and do have influence. I mean, we see what if you wanted to see if that was a thing, just look at what happened to Kanye. When he started talking crazy, look at how quickly they got his ass out of there. That can't happen unless you got some type of power. Because it wasn't just the Adidas that cut his ass off. It was the banks It was everybody. It was the banks, it was Adidas, it was whatever other companies he was associated with. As soon as he said something wrong, got his ass out of there. And like, if you got the power to do that, rightfully so, right? Just like if black people are in power. Oh, that was Ziv. He's not even in the chat anymore. He's not in the chat. He said, then we can't be friends. And I'm like, okay, we just can't be friends then, my nigga. Okay, like, that the genocide of black people hasn't been as loud and broadcasted. It's a bit more socially acceptable. It is. It is. We help them for money, but we still hate them. There's a lot of that shit on both sides. It depends on who you're talking about, Arcadia, because our military and police officers work with the IDF all the time. Like, it is very common for American police to work with the IDF on how to control people and how to deal with and suppress people. So like, they have no fucking problem doing it. There's just certain people who are like Christian or like just straight up racist that like just don't like Jewish people. And then there's people who don't mind them and they support Israel, the country, you know, because like Israel has all different ethnicities and races, mind you. But you know, the thing is, the thing that's bothering me is how they don't address the racism, because Ethiopian Jews don't get treated with respect in Israel. Why? Because they're black. So it's not about them being Jews. It's not even about them being Jews. That's the gag. It's literally about the extremists. It's the extremists who run the fucking government. And it's the extremists that support that government. Because it's definitely not all Jews. All of the Jews of different colors do not get treated equally over there. It's not a, oh, you count as a Jew. No, it's like, you gotta look like this and be of this lineage for us to actually acknowledge you and respect you. So that's the real tea. The genocide and erasure has happened over hundreds of years, a variety of ways. Yes, ma'am, you're right. We vote on the Bible Belt. Most white Republicans are Christian. It's very strange. It's very strange. They're Christian, but they also love war. That's the part that doesn't click for me. They're Christian and they love war. I don't understand. I really don't understand some of these people's ideologies. Holy war. These niggas are demons. Like, these people in these governments all around the world are demons. The United States, Russia, China, fucking Israel, every fucking world power country. These people are bloodthirsty for war. If it can make them some money, they're down for it. They're down for it, bro. And you already know. And they've had, and our government has had the holy war damn near with Muslim people for like, what's it been, like 20, 30 years, 40 years at this point? We basically have been doing our own holy war, which we call the war on terrorism. And how much money has been made off of that? How many millions of people have been displaced from that? How many millions of people have lost their culture, had to live in war, born into war? I couldn't even fucking imagine. But at the end of the day, it's just fucking sad. And then on to what Bestie was saying about here. Yes, black genocide, black oppression, black struggle has been more socially acceptable in our society. That's a fact. Black trauma, like, we got people who make jokes. You know, they make a whole career making jokes out of black trauma tropes, racial tropes, stereotypes. We got people who make whole careers off of that. Tyler fucking Perry, I'm looking at you. Tyler Perry, I'm looking at you. Making a whole career becoming a billionaire off of racial tropes about black women. I'm almost certain there weren't any black investors funding those films. Just saying. Right? And then you got the audacity to tell black women what they shouldn't accept. Oh, you know, if a man can't pay his half, you gotta still support. You gotta still support him, you know, help him. Telling black women to just accept whatever they get. fucking pathetic. He needs to go work out his mama issues. But the point that Bessie is making about our pain and our bad experiences being normalized in this country, it has been, and there's been the culture, and what's crazy, all the fucking cultural things we've come up with to express our pain and the trauma has been commodified and turned into an industry for other people and everyone to be a part of. And when we gatekeep our culture, we're the bad guys. That's the real tea. If I sit here and say, I don't like this white person rapping because he's rapping about something he didn't experience. I mean, at the end of the day, hip hop was a black genre. It's not anymore. But like, yes, it was exclusive to our culture because the only people who could speak to it are people who went through it. There's white people who have gone through it, right? Usually, personally, some people don't like it at all, but for the white ones that actually, you know, went through the trenches and they're making stories about their pain, I have a degree of respect for them. Like Eminem, he grew up in the hood. I have a degree of respect for someone who lived that experience because that's why it was created. But when I see these people who literally have nothing to do with the culture, they just come hop on the bandwagon because they're like, oh, I can make some money off of this. Like the little kid, Lil Mabu. Oh, I took a trip to the hood just to make it out. What? You're a little white boy that went to a prep school. What are you talking about? That's not what the genre was created for. But we're the bad guys if we say, hey, this doesn't fit the culture. What are you doing? You're not welcome. No, I refuse to believe that, because if there's nobody holding a fucking standard for what our culture is or the things we create, we're not gonna have shit left. It's just gonna be for everybody, then it's gonna be anything like what it is now. People that don't actually write their raps, I don't got respect for them because that is not hip-hop culture. That's not rap culture. I don't care what you look like. I don't have respect for you because the whole point of it is for it to be an art form. How are you a rapper but you didn't write your own rhymes? You didn't write your own poetry. They're watering down like the little things we have left that represent our culture. And that's not even to mention the trauma that's just gotten swept under the rug. That's not even addressing the fucking epigenetics that lead to fucking trauma and health issues that get passed down from generation to generation to generation to generation. So by the time you're even born, you're already predisposed to having heart disease, high cholesterol, all these other things because of some trauma that happened generations ago. So when people are like, oh, what does slavery have to do with today? Well, why don't you look at epigenetics and how they affect black people who had ancestors that were slaves? Or why don't you look at how poverty affects mental and physical health and predisposes you to a lot more likelihood to having certain health conditions? Like, why don't we look at, I don't know, how literally as recently as less than 100 years ago, the United States government and the Federal Housing Association collaborated together to create suburban neighborhoods for white families. And black families could not buy those homes and got moved to the projects that were then not maintained. Let's look at how that affected generational wealth just within the last 100 years. So if you were black and you were working and somehow put the money together to buy a house, you couldn't buy one. Because the Federal Housing Association's requirement was that black people could not buy these homes. So sit here and tell me how racism does not still have an impact today. That's the part that like gets downplayed, where there's people, I saw people on Twitter arguing yesterday when someone's like, imagine, you know, dealing with this oppression, and some black person was like, I don't have to imagine. And all these people were mad at her in her comments, but come to find out the girl is from Nigeria that just dealt with the fucking genocide recently. And it's like, look at how quickly like black people's experiences are shot down. We're just so fucking normalized to the trauma and the shit that we deal with that we take it on and make it something to be prideful about. And that shit is fucking sad, because we should be able to have pride in other things aside from our ability to deal with trauma and push it to the side to survive. But no, that's the normal that we have to experience. because we're still dealing with the fucking ripple effects of our grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents and all them ancestors back then that had to deal with shit, and it still affects us to this day. But people who aren't trying to listen or trying to understand in the first place, they're just not gonna get it, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people not understanding, but for the people who do try to understand, it goes way deeper. And I think what we need to focus on is like what we share in our human experience, or what you can understand about someone's experience or empathize with, because maybe you didn't go through it, but that doesn't mean you can't still be like, damn, I could understand how if that was me, that would probably fuck me up. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Arcadia said Tyler's movie was not as good as his plays. That's facts. Yeah, facts. His plays were the classics. Layla says people would go get married on a plantation, but you would never see anyone doing that. Any heuristic, bro. Oh my god, Layla, you just made a point, because I've seen that shit happen so many times. Oh my god, like that shit dead ass happens all the time. You will see people like, you know, I live in Mississippi, so everybody named Mama be wanting to wear the damn Confederate flags or have them on their truck or whatever the fuck, right? We're used to looking at that shit, and people can gaslight us all fucking day, but at the end of the day, when y'all pull that Confederate flag out, we know what that means. They'll get on YouTube and TikTok and get in person and try to act like, oh no, I care about the history. It's about the history. Miss me, we know what the fuck it means. And that's the type of shit we gotta deal with, is getting gaslit on a daily basis like we don't know what we're talking about. Like when we say the police target us, people are like, oh no, if you just do the right thing. There's so many fucking examples of when people have done literally everything they're supposed to do, and cops come back and plant a gun. They come back and plant a gun on them, or they just straight up shoot their ass in the back. Like, stop it. Like, it's so capped, like the shit we gotta deal with on a daily basis. Or I gotta sit here and have a conversation with somebody, you know, that wants to argue me down about whether black people own braids or not. We don't own braids, but if you want to deny that it has cultural significance, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. You know, we gotta deal with like people that we're in community with trying to downplay our experiences or tell us what isn't valid to experience. That's the shit we have to deal with. And that's why a lot of us black people are gonna stand with the Palestinian people, because we understand what it's like to be ostracized and for the whole fucking world to turn a blind eye to something happening to you and people trying to genocide you and take you out. So I get it. If you're someone that's Jewish or you're Israeli, you're in the position of power. Just like if you were white in America during slavery, like, you know, they're on some shit like, oh, we can't let them be, you know, citizens because then they're gonna kill us because they hate Jewish people. It's like, well, I don't know, maybe we should fucking evaluate what the people in control are doing to make people even feel that way in the first place. And like, I'm just not going for it. Like, if you can acknowledge what your own government is doing wrong, what are we doing? Like, some people to this day can't even acknowledge the shit that the US government has done to black people and brown people. If I'm not mistaken, didn't they have like Japanese people in concentration camps back in the day too? Are Native American people not like have like the highest poverty in the country? Like these are things that like still affect people to this day. Black and brown people are disproportionately making up the prison population. But at the same time, the real okie doke is that, you know, the more we racialize shit, the more people tune out and don't understand how it affects all of us. That's the shit that's so sad. Yo, Rap, thank you for the biddies. Let me read Layla's message. My bad, I'm chatting. And on Tyler, he is currently in the midst of making a murder mystery movie around police brutality storyline. What? Wait, he's making a murder mystery movie around police brutality? What the fuck? That is so fucking weird. And who approved that? Do y'all think a group of black elites came together to fund that movie. It's like at this point I have to wonder, like, who is this man making his content for? Is he making it for black people? A who done it for the white police officer, eh? It's that's just fucking disgusting. He's lost the plot, and he's lost the plot for a while now. That is so disgusting. That just doesn't seem real. Like, that does not seem like a real fucking thing that will actually happen. Oh yeah, we watched The Other Black Girl on Hulu. Y'all should definitely watch that. Very good. We're not gonna spoil it. But just watch it and then tell us what y'all think. The episodes are kind of short. What's good, Seed? But let's listen to what this lady got to say. I just have to preface what I said with that. And you know what? The black and brown struggle solidarity is always gonna be here. And there's nobody in this world that I could care enough about as a friend to make me lose my solidarity with people in the world who are being oppressed and hurt. That's it. There's nothing. Yes, fuck that nigga. That's what I told him. And it's funny because you see the racism always come out, right? The racism always fucking comes out. Because what does this have to do? No, he's not my friend. Nobody's a friend that's gonna, at the drop of a hat, say, I hope this happens in your hood. That's not a friend. That's just a closeted racist. And that's what be killing me. Yes, in my hood. Yes, he said, oh, I hope it happens in your hood. You see, that's the shit right there. That's the shit right there that people keep talking about that gets normalized. When they say stuff, you know, there was a whole rally in New York or some shit where they were literally saying some crazy shit. Like, I don't even want to repeat the stuff that they were saying. Pick up a fucking book since past time. Is it targeting y'all's college books and education? Oh my god, she's on 10. I'm saying it's strange. People are strange. And the part that was disturbing to me is bro was like excited for his military to like hurt people. He was excited. That's the shit that was throwing me. And they'll sit here and tell us we're wrong for acknowledging the people like that. Of course it's not everybody, but damn, it's enough of them that feel that way for this shit to slide. What's good? Me named Jeffreyson 3.0. Jeffreyson. What's good, man? Welcome in. White men in America went, bro. Oh, please. I've seen them too, bro. The things I've seen people saying, and yes, the people at the rally that I was talking about were white. They were white people. They weren't even Jewish. They were just white guys. And I was just like, all right, bro. Like, people getting excited over killing little kids. Is this about the war? I live next door to it. Yep, we're talking about it. What do you think? You know, be like a news reporter. Do you condemn Hamas? That's the first question you gotta answer to anybody. Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn the Israeli government? Our friend is like a white dude and he was joining the military. Told him when he was happy. That when he was happy in the way it went. Because we need to go. She's like, oh, just come on. Wait, are you going to get your hair today? What do you think about it, Jeffreyson? What do you think about it? She said, don't come here in a bush. It's okay, Jeffreyson. She's just a little on guard because we've had some incidents today with people coming in on bullshit. Wait, what country do you live in? What country do you live in? Chat, we're going to the politics channel. I never go to politics. Jordan. Oh yeah, I saw with Jordan that the president of Jordan had like sent some money to the UN, I think. Is that what happened? I think I saw that yesterday. Like they sent some money to the UN. Oh guys, and here's the other thing, bro. Oh, the king, my bad. Respectfully. The king, yes, the king of Jordan. It was just sad. Like I saw that unfortunately some United Nations buildings and schools were targeted, which is of course against international law, but it's not really like they give a fuck about international law at this point. But I'm like, bro, these are literal neutral grounds and you guys targeted them. Like that's just. And they said there's been multiple United Nations workers that have died, as well as obviously like the people that they're trying to protect. And I don't know what the latest is with this whole I don't know what the news is with the whole 24 hours, like Israel gave them 24 hours to evacuate northern Gaza, and I just don't have a good feeling about that, bro. I just don't. Yeah, we getting the news in Arabic for Palestine. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've been kind of getting news too, but like, you know, the news is very biased and like they're not very honest, or they don't really tell the full story. Bombed them all on the roads, bro. That's what I saw, that Hamas put out a message that they were they put out a message that said it was a trap, basically. Don't listen to the order. And people are like, oh, Hamas is trying to use them as human shields. I'm like, bro, this sounds like a setup. And the UN even sent a message saying that there's no way that all those people, they're asking like 1 million plus people to move from the top part of the country, or top part of like the city, to the bottom part. How is that like even possible? They said it's literally not possible to do that. So they actually did that. That they actually do that. Hold on, because I have a, hold on, let's see. Democracy. Bro, people last night were trying to like, no. And then they bombed their hospitals. They bombed their fucking hospitals. And bro, I saw this crazy story yesterday. This shit broke my heart. Crazy story. There's a journalist who is from Palestine. I saw a tweet where he was recording somebody from Israel military called him and basically left him a threat saying to stop covering the news on what was going on over there. And it was basically like one of those calls they give people before they're gonna assassinate them. And they actually he arrived to like a scene to report on the news, but all like 12 or 15 of his family members were dead. All of them. They specifically targeted his whole family. So it's like, for me, would it be better for my mental health to not see some of this stuff? Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, I think his name was Aziz. I think that was his name, Aziz. And like, that shit really just like hit me, because I was like, wow, this is where we are. This is where we are. Like, okay, so what happened? This Palestinian journalist was reporting on like what was going on, and the Israeli military basically threatened him and told him to stop reporting or they would assassinate him. And he went back to like report on the news and found his whole family dead. Like all 15 of his family members were killed by the military. And I feel like if we don't feel something, what are we doing? Like, if we can't feel hurt and pain for somebody else, if we have to avoid all the videos, you know, if we are scared of even watching a video of some of the shit people are dealing with, then how do we think the people who are actually there feel? Like, if we feel that way, if we feel that strongly, like, oh, I'm scared to watch a video, I don't want to see that. Imagine the people that got to go back home and see their family member in pieces. And I just saw the guy crying, like, he was like, I think it was like his sister or his niece and his mom in the body bag. And he was crying. He was like, wow, like, their body bag says pieces of, I think the girl's name was Makaya, pieces of whoever the other person was, because their body was not found like whole. They only found pieces of their body. And you know, like, for us Americans, you know, those of us who haven't been to war, haven't lived in war, anything like that, you know, that's jarring. People over here who die from gun violence, it's already bad for people here who experience maybe like finding a dead family member or something like that, or seeing their child, you know, with a gunshot wound or something like that. You know, those are some of the traumatizing things we see here. But you know, pulling your family member's body out the rubble, that's pretty fucking traumatizing. Or seeing pieces of your family member. I saw pieces of people's body parts. You know, there was like this little blanket that they had pieces of someone's body in, and they were trying to get the people to like see if anyone could identify like who it was, because that's how dismembered the person was. And I was like, bro, this is real life. Saw a lady like coming out the hospital crying. She's like, they got my husband. They got my husband. They murdered my husband. I was at work and they murdered my husband. This one lady was holding what looked like her daughter. They had her daughter like zipped up in the body bag. She went to see her. And it was just so sad. Like, she was trying to hold her body. She just crying. And I was just like, wow, like, there's some people out there that are like actually happy to see this. There's some people out there who like take pride in this. So to have somebody sit here and come to me this morning and be like, oh, that's propaganda. It's just like, okay, you just don't see these people as human. You see your government as infallible, and that's just insane to me. That's just insane. That like this can literally be somebody else's life on the other side, and you just say, oh, they're all bad people. They're all bad people. That's what I had to deal with this morning. Somebody telling me that the bad stuff that happened was just propaganda. And I'm like, wow. That's crazy. So we had people trying to cross the border into Palestine here in Georgia. And when the shit their country does blow up in their face, I hope karma hits them. No, bro, there's literally people who are like celebrating. There's people out there who are celebrating. They're happy. They're happy. He said the second Nakba is coming soon. I mean, for those of you guys that don't know what the Nakba is, it was a very bad time for Palestinian people when Israel was first established, where they went around and terrorizing people and blowing up their houses to scare them out of the neighborhood so that they can move in. Killing people, massacring people, terrorist attacks, you know, basically. This guy's cheering for the second Nakba. But dude, trust me, you know, it's not that bad, you know? That's what they want us to believe. It's people like this that are the reason that the government feels empowered to do what they do. Now at that point he's a part of it. Yeah, he is a part of it. He said Palestine is dead. There is no Palestine. It said go from here, go die. May your village burn. Go to Thailand. But nah, you guys, it's nothing to see here, guys. Nothing to see here, you know? Nothing. Where's my other videos? I have more videos than this. Where's the other videos? I have more than this, bro. I have more than this. There we go. When the government and fascists have roots, yeah, it's very strange. It's very strange behavior. I mean, it's when you really think about it. All right.
I want to know what's happening right now. From its inception, the whole idea of Israel as a country was based on racism. Israel was conceived as a Jewish state, and while there's nothing wrong in principle with Jews having a homeland, the problem is that they insisted that that homeland had to be in Palestine, which already belonged to someone, the Palestinians. The slogan of Israel's founders was "a land for a people without a land." But deep down, they all knew that the only way to have a Jewish majority in Palestine, an Arab country, was to expel the Arabs. One of the founders of Israel, Yosef Weitz, wrote, "There's no room in the country for both peoples. There's no way but to transfer the Arabs from here to neighboring countries." Israel was quite literally founded by expelling and massacring hundreds of thousands of Arabs in a years-long process called the Nakba. And when you found a country based on racial exclusion, you're gonna get a culture that fosters and celebrates racial exclusion.
Who would have thought?
Because countries that commit terrible atrocities rarely acknowledge committing those atrocities. And the presence of Palestinians who remained in Palestine became a constant reminder, not only of the violence that founded Israel, but of the constantly looming threat that they might come back and try to reclaim their land. Every day you can find videos coming out of Israel showing Israelis calling for all Arabs to die, insulting the Prophet Muhammad, desecrating mosques, spitting on Christians, mocking and celebrating the murder of Palestinians, committing violent hate crimes against Palestinians, watching Gaza get carpet bombed from a cliffside for entertainment.
Oh, wow.
But don't just go
They're
off these
just sitting up there.
Let's look at some of the polls. One poll found that 2/3 of Israeli teens believe Arabs to be less intelligent, uncultured, and violent. It also found that 50%
wow.
of Israelis wouldn't live in the same building as Arabs, wouldn't befriend Arabs, wouldn't let their children befriend Arabs, and wouldn't let Arabs
Oh
into their
wow,
home.
that sounds so familiar. Like that sounds so much like, I don't know what's happening in the United States with black people. That just sounds so familiar. Like, you know, white people didn't even want to drink out the same water fountains as black people back in the day. They didn't want to use the same bathroom. It just sounds so familiar, bro.
Homes. Another poll found that 60% of Israeli Jews want segregation from Arabs. Another poll found that half of Israeli Jews agree with the statement, most Jews are better than most non-Jews because they were born Jews. The poll also found that 88% of Israeli Jews would be disturbed if their son befriended an Arab girl, and 90% would be disturbed if their daughter befriended an Arab boy. This poll found that about half of Israeli high schoolers don't think Arabs should have the right to vote. Another poll showed that almost half of Israeli Jews don't want Arabs teaching their kids. Not only are these views widely held in Israeli society, they're also represented in government, which codifies these sentiments into law. For example, Israel has a law that says if an Israeli marries a Palestinian, or someone from several other regional Arab states, that person isn't allowed to move in with said Israeli. This law was passed in 2003, but it's been renewed every single—
What? Okay, that's crazy. Wow. They aren't. That sure does sound like those I mean, that's even more extreme than the racial laws for black and white couples back in the day. Like they literally black and white couples just couldn't get married. They said they can't even move in the house.
That person isn't allowed to move in with said Israeli. This law was passed in 2003, but it's been renewed every single year since. Israel also doesn't allow interreligious marriage to be performed in the country, which is meant to deter Jews from marrying non-Jews. In 2018, Israel passed the nation-state law, a law which has constitutional status, which says the right to exercise national self-determination, i.e. have rights, is the exclusive right of Jews, no one else. There's also the Nakba law, which makes it illegal to acknowledge the Nakba, the expulsions of Palestinians that were needed to found Israel. This would be like—
Bro, that's insane. So
to
they
make
can
it
even
illegal to talk about indigenous genocide or slavery in America. There's also the Admissions Committee law, which basically allows towns to operate panels that deny applications for entry based on socio-cultural compatibility, which essentially just legalizes racist housing discrimination. In Israel, advocating genocide of Palestinians doesn't hurt your chances of holding a high position in government. And in fact, in many cases, it helps. In 2014, Israeli lawmaker Ayelet Shaked wrote an unhinged rant on Facebook, calling all Palestinians enemy combatants and saying their mothers should be killed for giving birth to, quote, little snakes. The next year, she was appointed Minister of Justice by Benjamin Netanyahu.
Louise, bro.
Itamar Ben-Gvir, a lifelong admirer of Meir Kahan, an Arab exterminationist, a man who praised a Jewish settler who killed a Palestinian for throwing a rock at him, a man who was famously acquitted after being criminally charged for chanting death to Arabs, is Israel's current Minister of National Security. He's not some fringe figure.
Well, everything definitely starts to make sense when you see who's in the government. Jesus Christ, like they weren't even like covert racist. They were just straight up racist. Jeez, that's like, they're basically Nazis. Basically.
Figure either. He's one of the most popular politicians in Israel right now. In the last few days, Israel's been working hard to cast itself as the victim of hatred, the victim of terrorism, the victim of anti-Semitism, that they have no choice but to lay siege to Gaza. But underneath this carefully concocted victim complex is a racist, Jewish supremacist state that's been trying to finish the job that the Nakba started for decades. And really, this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. After all, they're literally cutting off water and electricity to a city of 2 million people right now. Their generals talk openly about flattening Gaza and killing the animals, meaning Palestinians.
Jesus.
It's obvious their goal is genocide.
Jeez Louise, bro. Wow. That cute animals. Animals though. Okay, let's see what they said. So I'm confused. Did they?
We begin today's show in Gaza, where Israel last night ordered the evacuation within 24 hours of all Palestinians living in the northern Gaza Strip, some 1.1 million people within 24 hours. The United Nations has condemned the order, saying it's, quote, impossible for such a movement to take place without devastating humanitarian consequences, unquote. Much of Gaza is already in the dark as Israel's cut off energy, food, and water supplies. The 7-day Israeli bombardment has killed at least 1,500 Palestinians. Israel declared war after Saturday's surprise, brutal attack by Hamas militants on Israel, where the death toll has reached 1,300. Israel's now amassing tanks on the border of Gaza ahead of what appears to be an imminent ground invasion.
Oh my God, they're actually going to do this.
Some 400,000 Palestinians had already been displaced prior to Israel's evacuation order last night. Some groups have announced plans to defy Israel's order. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society said, quote, despite the occupation's threats to shell, the decision has been made. We did and will not leave. Our medics will carry on their humanitarian duties. We won't leave.
Oh my God. These people are probably going to die, bro. They're probably going to die. That fucking sucks. I gotta say, like, I respect their ability to stand on their principles. All some people have left in their life is pride. And I think that's the case for a lot of these people. That's the only thing they have left, bro. Only thing they got left is pride. Or something to stand for their morality. And it's not surprising that some of them are just like, we're not leaving. We gotta still be able to help people. I definitely think that's what they're trying to do too. They're trying to get the medics and people to leave so that the other people leave, but they're really gonna set the people up.
Face death.
Because they're gonna be like, oh, y'all didn't. Right. Exactly. They want them to leave all the people like who are either injured, going to be injured. It's a setup, bro. It's a setup for them to end up having less medical support than they already do.
Made. We did and will not leave. Our medics will carry on their humanitarian duties. We won't leave people face death alone, unquote. Many in Gaza fear Israel's evacuation order is the start of a second Nakba. 75 years ago in 1948, some 700,000 Palestinians fled from or were violently expelled from their homes upon Israel's founding in 1948. Much of Gaza's population are refugees from families displaced 75 years ago. We begin today's show with Mohammed Shahada, a writer and analyst from Gaza, chief communications at Euro-Mediterranean Human Rights Monitor, columnist at the Forward newspaper, Jewish Weekly in New York. He's joining us from Copenhagen. Mohammed, welcome to Democracy Now! Can you describe what's happening on the ground and first respond to this order from the Israeli government that half the population of Gaza, 1.1 million people, must leave the north and head south, and they gave them 24 hours last night to do it?
Yes, thanks, Amy. I've been through at least 6 Israeli military operations or even more. This is like nothing I've ever seen in my entire life and nothing like Gaza has ever seen. In terms of magnitude, scale, level of destruction and death, entire neighborhoods are totally unrecognizable. With the evacuation orders, it's basically plain and very obvious forcible transfers. And its most important thing about it is that it's unimplementable. If you know Gaza geographically and physically and the devastation of infrastructure there, you would know that most roads are broken, There's vast electricity, internet outages. People are not getting any news.
How did it start? Well, it started after World War II, when after like the Holocaust, Jewish people wanted to go somewhere else where they felt safe, and they decided to choose Palestine because they said that's the Holy Land and that's the land that God gave them. And Great Britain basically did not really negotiate with Palestine on what was acceptable, because they said, oh well, we'll let you guys go here to Palestine. And the Palestinians weren't very happy because they're like, we've been living here the whole time, like how you're just gonna invite people to our country and say they can live here. So they divided up parts of their land to allow Israeli people to live there, and then more Israeli people came than were actually like allowed to be there, like based on how much space they had. And they said, fuck that, we don't care, this is our holy land, so we're gonna take it. So that's what they're talking about with the Nakba, where they basically terrorized the Palestinians that lived there, bombed them, basically were like going out there by hand and killing them, scaring them away, and forcing them to leave, which led to a lot of them to become refugees. A lot of them got kicked out of their homes, killed, all types of stuff. It's basically like the equivalent of the Trail of Tears in the United States with the Native Americans. It's basically that equivalent over there. So that's kind of how we got here. And there's been, basically Palestinian people have not been able to live on their land that is designated for them under international law. They have been moved out and pushed more and more away. And they're racially discriminated against, systemically discriminated against. They don't even have citizenship. You know, it's supposed to be two separate countries, but Israel has just completely ignored that and said, no, fuck that. And we're going to put like, I don't know, 2.5 million of y'all in this super tight, small city. That's literally smaller than New York City. It's the most densely populated area in the world, has the highest unemployment in the world. And they actually have like 45% children who are like under 18, at least under 18. I think it's under 16, but I'll just be conservative and say under 18. So that's pretty much how we got here. And there has been a lot of conflict back and forth with both countries, but well, it's not even, they don't even acknowledge their country really. So yeah, that's basically how we got here. Yo, what's good, Doc? How we doing today?
News. At the same time, the area that Israel wants people to go out of is the most densely populated part of Gaza, and the area with the most safe shelters, these UN schools, although not very safe because Israel bombed a lot of them over the last 6 days, but it's the area with the most UN schools. It's the area with the most hospitals. And right now you have over 7,000 Palestinians wounded in Al Shifa hospital and other hospitals around Gaza, around the area that Israel wants them to evacuate from. So by the mere act of evacuation, many people are going to lose their lives. The other issue is that there are not enough houses, not enough spaces or shelter in the south of Gaza that Israel wants to push people towards to be in. The only realistic outcome of this is that we're going to have people just literally baking in the sun in 30 degrees Celsius temperature, about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, daily in the sun, in the street, without any access to hospitals, any access to food or water.
It's genocide, bro.
The sheer
they want them to die.
Of Palestinians experiencing
they just want them to die, bro.
Many people there are saying we're not leaving our homes. The Palestinian Red Crescent said we refuse to evacuate because we're not gonna let our people face death alone. At the same time, I'm aware that there is some pressure from European officials and the Israeli government discreetly to sort of backtrack this decision, but they are telling me quite obviously that it's unlikely they would have much influence on Israel without the US coming on board. And until now, the Biden administration hasn't made its mind up.
Biden needs to say something. And I know where he stands. He doubled down on supporting them yesterday or the day before. And it's like, okay, supporting them is one thing, but once you see and it's obvious like what they're trying to do, you got to adjust your position or add some stipulations or tell them to abide by international law, something. But just free balling and being like, yeah, we support him, period. That's just, it's sick, honestly. It's sick. So pretty much our country is the only country that has the power to tell them, hey, don't do this. And our government hasn't said anything of the sort. Sad stuff, man.
More horrendous than the Palestinian
These
Nakba.
people
We're
did
talking
not do
almost about
nothing.
double the amount of Palestinians
These are
that
regular
were displaced
people.
in 1948, just gone in 24 hours.
We've been trying to reach guests in Gaza, and we're not able to make any connection at this point. Mohammed Shahada, if you could explain more the conditions on the ground and the significance, as I listened last night to the general director of the Palestine Red Crescent Society say, how do we move people out of hospitals with this short amount of time, not to mention more than 1 million people?
Yes, so before the evacuation orders, almost everyone I know in Gaza, they say our knees cannot lift us up. They haven't had any sleep for more than 2 to 3 hours a night, punctuated by constant military airstrikes, because Israel dropped up until yesterday about 6,000 bombs on Gaza. In 6 days, that's about a bomb every 1.5 minutes.
That's crazy. Like, on top of warfare is psychological warfare. He said 6,000 bombs in 6 days. $6,000. That's what our military is supporting. That's what our government administration is supporting. And I would just love to hear like the strategic purpose behind that, right? Because at that point, that just sounds indiscriminate. Like you're just indiscriminately bombing stuff at that point. Can't even make the argument that it's like, oh, we're targeting. No, you're just literally like trying to psychologically torture people at that point. I mean, some people are obviously physically hurt. I think they said the toll is at 1,500, which is probably higher than that at this point.
Bombs on Gaza in 6 days. That's about a bomb every 1.5 minutes. Every single neighborhood in Gaza was damaged. Every single street area, all the.
It's like, what do you? How do you justify that? You can't even say we're targeting Hamas. You can't even say we're targeting the group. You're literally just bombing everything. Like, and they've already done this before. This is not like something new. They've done the carpet bombing before, but where else in the world would we say this is acceptable? If this was happening like in Russia or China, oh my God, could y'all imagine the narratives? Could y'all imagine the narratives? We're talking about what's going on in the world right now.
Famous sites are completely gone, pulverized. At the same time, the last time I talked to people was this morning. I talked to at least 2 to 3 people, and I lost them as I was talking with them on the line because of airstrikes or running out of electricity and internet. Israel bombed Gaza's main telecommunication company on the 3rd or 4th day of this escalation, bombed it completely, leading to outages in vast areas of Gaza. And the last time I talked to someone, the last one I spoke to is Gazan Irish citizen. He holds Irish citizenship, European. And he was telling me basically this: I only have few liters of water in my home for a family of 6. I don't know where am I gonna go. I have a few batteries and they're running out of power. And he doesn't.
Thank you, Deadeye. I hope you have a great day, bro. How was your day, Doc? I hope you have a great day. Good luck with work. Sending you positive vibes. Be safe out there, bro. Chat, make sure y'all drop this legend a follow. Deadeye, one of the GOATs.
I have a few batteries and they're running out of power. And he doesn't know if he's going to stay alive. Most people I know in Gaza are literally uploading their wills and last words to their social media accounts and begging for forgiveness from anyone that they've ever wronged or done anything to, and saying, please forgive us, and we forgive you as well. This is what it has come down to.
Former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett exploded at a Sky News anchor, Kamali Melbourne, during an interview Thursday after Melbourne pressed Bennett on Israel's attacks on Palestinian civilians. Here's a portion of the exchange.
What about those Palestinians in hospital?
Oh yeah, I listened to it.
Who
I listened to
are on
Apple.
life support? What about those Palestinians in hospital who are on life support and babies and incubators whose life support and incubator will have to be turned off because the Israelis have cut the power to Gaza?
Are you seriously keep on asking me about Palestinian civilians? What's wrong with you? Have you not seen what happened? We're fighting Nazis. We don't target them. Now, the world can come and bring them anything they want. If you want to bring them electricity, I'm not going to feed electricity or water to my enemies. If anyone else wants, that's fine. We're not responsible for them.
This is the point.
But you
This
keep
is the
on.
point.
You,
No, Mr.
I
Bennett,
want
this
to
is the
tell you,
point.
no.
He said, we're fighting Nazis. We're not going to target them. Which basically means you just said, fuck actually targeting the people who did something to us. We're just going to label all of them Nazis. And we're going to make all of them our combatants. And we're going to attack all of them, which is confusing because if you're mad about Hamas doing that to your civilian settlers, then why are you like so eager to do it back to them? If you're saying that that's unjustifiable, y'all have already been doing that for years, and then you're doing it again now. So it's like, what argument do you have? It says 447 children among the 1,417 Palestinians killed. The kids, bro. Doc said, today has been a day, not gonna lie, testing my patience every way. I think I'm gonna do karaoke tonight to hopefully make myself a little happier. Yeah, man, like if you do the karaoke, it'll probably be really good for you. I think you should do it for sure. I definitely understand how, you know, those days can go, so I hope it gets better. And I'm confident that you can turn it around. I don't think the day is cooked. It started off not that great, but honestly, you made it through it to this point. So you know what? I'm a manifest and wish a great rest of your night. Hope things get better for you, Doc. Did I like her album? Yeah, I liked it. I gotta listen to it a few more times. First listen is kind of like F for me, but I'm gonna listen to it again. But of course, like I love Victoria Monet. I loved her last album too.
No, listen, you listen
you're
to me
raising
right
your
now.
voice,
I've
and we're
heard
trying.
you enough.
No, I understand. We're trying to have a conversation here. Listen, this is my program. This is my show, and I am asking the questions. You're raising your voice, and I've asked you, and we've already stopped, please, and let me finish. We've already distinguished between Hamas.
I want to tell you, shame on you.
You're trying to speak over me.
We are not. Shame on you.
It's nothing about shame. We're trying to have a conversation about a very serious situation here, and you are refusing to address it.
That's Sky News anchor Melbourne challenging the former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who said to him, "You're daring to ask me about Palestinian civilians?" Mohammed Shahada, your response.
Well, I'm afraid that this is now becoming a mainstream sentiment in Israel, and not just in Israel, amongst official European and American leaders. And in the media as well, if you've been looking at what Israeli politicians are saying, about 2 days ago, an Israeli lawmaker, senior one in the ruling coalition, Limor Son Harmelech, she wrote on Twitter saying, quote, "There are no innocents in Gaza, flat in Gaza," quite literally, very openly. Now we have
the
architect, the godfather of the Israeli judicial coup or judicial overhaul, Simcha Rotman.
It's ethnic cleansing, y'all. It's ethnic cleansing. There's no other way to put it. How else do you describe someone saying that? There's no innocence. Like, Hamas is a group. They're a group. that the Israeli government propped up, mind you, that they wanted to be there, but there's no innocence. You mean like 45% of the kids over there, right? Like they wanted to be born into that, right? They wanted to be born into being second-class citizens. Jeez, Louise, the people's logic that I hear is just very disturbing. You seen the other song I put? What song? Yeah, I saw the 2 songs. I'm gonna check them out. I saw it. And the first one, the Victoria one, I already listened to it. How you doing, Prime? Uh-oh, he went fishing, period. I'm doing good, Prime. How was the fishing? Did you catch anything? W Prime in the chat.
He's now saying that the main goal of this operation is that a Jewish kid can walk freely in Gaza alone if there would be a Gaza at all. So this sentiment is shared widely, but what I find most striking are 2 things. Number one, European diplomats in the occupied territories are telling me that their leaders, their bosses, their foreign ministries for the last at least 5 to 6 days were not bringing Gaza up to their Israeli counterparts at all. That's the same with the US government. They're not bringing what Israel's conduct in Gaza at all, aside from the issue of the humanitarian corridor. This might change now with the force.
Hey, Prime, that's okay. Last time I went fishing, I ain't catch nothing either. I was kind of sad, but I still had fun just being out there.
Transfer of 1.1 million people, but at the same time, this level of complicitness I've never seen before. And it's the same with mainstream media. I've seen circulation of allegations that were completely debunked of extreme, horrendous atrocities like mass rapes and decapitation of babies being taken at face value by virtually all the mainstream media, circulating immediately and without the slightest work of journalistic integrity or investigation, although it was later debunked. And at the same time, when we have Human Rights Watch coming out yesterday and saying we have solid evidence of Israel using phosphorus munition on Gaza's civilian population, that's a chemical incendiary weapon that burns on immediate and ignites on immediate impact with oxygen, and it burns flesh and bone, and it cannot be turned off, and the toxic fumes of it can be lethal and can cause permanent respiratory damage. Human Rights Watch says Israel is using.
They're like, this is so sick. So Israel's like, okay, if we don't get y'all now, we're gonna put this in the air so that it fucks y'all up for the rest of your life and you eventually die of a respiratory illness. That's some sick shit, bro. That's some sick shit, bro.
Using it, this is a war crime, and virtually not a single mainstream media is picking up and reporting on this. So it's
I haven't heard anybody talk about
the
it.
level of complicitness that I see in this round of escalation. Nobody is calling for de-escalation or ceasefire, not even a humanitarian ceasefire, although they did that in the last major war on Gaza 2014. That was the United Nations and the US. They had a
Yo, thank you for the tab, Monarch K. How you doing today, fam?
Humanitarian ceasefire for 72 hours, but this time there's not even any talk about it, not even a thought for it.
Hey,
and
that's what's up, bestie.
Most frightening.
Can't wait
I
to
get
see
a
what
lot
you
of
get.
questions from my colleagues, family, and people I love in Gaza asking, are we gonna stay alive? One of my friends, she says, I just gave birth about a month ago. My baby is clinging to me. I'm afraid if he's gonna die from a heart attack from the airstrikes and fear and terror. At the same time that she's afraid that her husband might get killed or taken away from her if there is a ground invasion. At the same time that she's afraid that she's gonna end up permanently a refugee in the Sinai desert. These things are unimaginable horrors that are inflicted on Gaza right now with no one intervening to stop it. This is pure madness.
On CNN last night, his former military Israeli analyst said our goal isn't turning Gaza City into a parking lot. Our goal is to turn Gaza into a Hamas-less region. Mohammed Shahada, if you can respond in this last answer.
Yeah, exactly. As I said, Israeli leaders, politicians, and members of the ruling coalition are openly admitting that the goal is flattening Gaza. Simcha Rotman, that's, as I said, he is the architect, the chief architect of the Israeli judicial overhaul. He's one of the top lawmakers in the Israeli ruling coalition. And he's saying openly, the goal is that a Jewish Israeli kid can walk in and out freely if there would be a Gaza at all. He's admitting it very openly. And I've seen the sentiment not just from Israeli politicians, but from Israeli media as well, from Israeli pundits, analysts, and commentators. Voices of reason in Israel are now becoming a shunned minority. Many of them are afraid to speak up because now the atmosphere is so hostile, so polarized and toxic and dehumanizing for people in Gaza that whenever Gaza is brought up, the only thing that's brought up with it is Nazis. Can you imagine if any person in Gaza would refer to Israel as such, how many condemnations would be poured on their heads immediately?
Mohammed Shahada, I want to thank you so much for being with us.
That's crazy. So they're calling the Palestinian people Nazis. That's ironic. That is very ironic. Yo, Marna, thank you so much for the biddies. I appreciate you, fam. I hope you're having a great day. Welcome back, Seed. Yeah, see, I'm definitely gonna check out that song. Maybe like tomorrow, I'll check it out. Just remind me.
democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Last night, the Israeli army ordered half the population of Gaza, 1.1 million residents, to evacuate their homes within 24 hours from northern Gaza to the south, in what many Palestinians fear is the start of a second Nakba. The UN said the mass transfer of half of Gaza's population would have devastating humanitarian
consequences. What's the girl's name again? Taya?
This comes as Israel's bombed Gaza for 7 straight days, killing at least 1,500 people. Joining us now, Nora Erekat, Palestinian human rights attorney, associate professor at Rutgers University, author of Justice for Some, Law and the Question of Palestine. She's speaking to us from Philadelphia. Nora, if you can respond to this order and what's happening in Gaza.
Good morning, Amy, and thank you. Your reporting has been an oasis in a sea of warmongering across mainstream media, for which I have deep contempt at this moment. They have mobilized almost every racial trope of savagery, barbarian. They have built on Islamophobia and the infrastructure of the war on terror to create a common sense, logical conclusion that war is inevitable and whatever consequences come out is the fault of Hamas, thereby further blaming the victims for their own killing and massacres. At this point, we have to understand that there is no military solution. There has never been a military solution to this. Hamas cannot be eradicated. As we've seen right now, Palestinians are being killed, pulled from out of the rubble. We have not given them hope. I saw a young girl staring in trauma at the screen, her entire family decimated. What will happen to this young girl in 20 years? What will we tell her? That Israel had no choice, that this was your fault, and now your future is to continue to be stuck in an open-air prison? There must be hope, and that hope lies in a political solution and in the responsibility of the international community to dismantle an apartheid system, to dismantle prolonged military occupation, the longest in the world, to lift a debilitating siege that has condemned Palestinians to slow death. This is a human-made disaster, a catastrophe, according to the World Health Organization. This is not a crisis. It is a humanitarian catastrophe. If we are to create a future, it has to begin and end with a political and diplomatic solution.
We have this update. Palestine's Ministry of Health said 7 Palestinians have been shot dead by Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank today. 500 Palestinian children have been killed in Gaza, and at least Hamas is saying that 13 of the hostages have died in the Israeli airstrikes. These are hostages that Hamas took from the Gaza border. Your response to all?
It's devastating, Amy. All of us are watching this, but one of the things that we've been emphasizing is that although what we're seeing is devastating, we've also been laying a pathway out of it. While international human rights organizations and Israeli human rights organizations came to near consensus in 2020 that Israel oversees an apartheid system, a crime against humanity, what is the greatest crime that is sustaining this ongoing structure of violence? There should have been mobilization to impose weapons sanctions on Israel, to impose a diplomatic solution, to force Israel in order to dismantle this racist colonial structure that has basically condemned Palestinians to permanent subjugation. It is the failure of the international community to mobilize that has now produced this outcome. It is all of our responsibility. There is blood on all of our hands, and now the way out is not a military solution. We have to de-escalate. There must be a ceasefire. There must be a recognition that Hamas, unlike these awful comparisons to ISIS and Al-Qaeda, is actually a nascent sovereign of the Palestinian people who has only targeted Israel, that gives them the right to use armed force, though that right is not qualified. That right is not, unqualified. They cannot use it however which way based on ongoing trauma and violence, but it must be recognized that as a nascent sovereign, they are representing a Palestinian people struggle for freedom. And as we've seen from the broad Palestinian public, institutions, civil society organizations, other political parties, they have all insisted that responsibility for this lies at the feet of Israel. The Haaretz editorial team has also said this lies in the responsibility of Israel. This is not about finger pointing, nor is it about bean counting the dead. There is tragedy on all sides. But if we are interested in not only ending this particular crisis, but of also achieving a durable, truthful, long-lasting solution, we have to go beyond this moment to dismantle the structures of violence that are sustaining it and creating these tragedies that are hurting everybody and will spill beyond Israelis and Palestinians throughout the region and throughout the world.
I want to ask you about the White House just saying that Gaza City's evacuation is a tall order. The Israeli army's call for more than 1 million people to evacuate North Gaza, a tall order, the White House has said, adding the U.S. understands Israel is trying to give civilians fair warning.
Fair warning about what? Man, our military and representative people, tell you, man, these officers or these positions where people are calling the shots and representing our country, they're demons, bro. All they care about is money and war. The audacity to say they're giving them a fair warning is crazy. It's not no fair warning shit. They're not giving them a fair warning. They're just saying that so that when they go in there and start killing everybody and massacring people, they'll be like, oh, well, we told y'all to leave. I know we only gave y'all 24 hours and it's not logistically possible, but like, hey, we give you a warning. They think we're stupid, bro.
That is so cynical. That is so cynical and can only be corroborated by an irresponsible media that has failed to show decimation of Palestinian communities, the attack on shelters, the attack on refugee camps. What warnings? To what end? Palestinians have been under siege for 16 years. There are no humanitarian corridors. The one corridor with Egypt was bombed by Israel. The Minister of Israeli Defense literally said that there will be no there will be no exit, that there will be a siege, that electricity will be cut off, that water will be cut off, that Palestinians are human animals. There has been a priming that all of these mass atrocities will be accepted by a population who will watch it with lament, but think to themselves, but what else was Israel supposed to do? We are all being primed to accept mass atrocities. This historically is the playbook of how genocides happen. What we are seeing is a genocidal campaign. You cannot forcibly transfer 1.1 million Palestinians in a 225 square mile enclosed area. There is nowhere for them to go. The largest hospital, Palestinian hospital, that is literally on life support, no pun intended, to stay functioning is in the north. Where will these Palestinians be treated? What we are seeing is an ongoing shrinking of Palestinian land, is an ongoing campaign to take that land without the people. They want to shrink and concentrate the Palestinians now below Wadi Gaza in what is an untenable situation. As much as we think that this is about war, about war and conflict and perpetual animosities, this is about land and water. And there is only one viable future. We either all live together or we all die together. And despite all of our appeals for us to survive and live together, the international community, mainly the Western governments led by the United States, the European capitals who have already cut off aid to Israel, France, which has banned Palestinian protests, Germany, which has banned Palestinian protests, are intent on a military option where there is no outcome. Military solution will not produce an outcome of a viable future for anybody.
You know, I already played this, but I'm going to play a much shorter clip of the former Israeli prime minister, because how significant he is, Naftali Bennett, who's now serving in the army in Gaza, exploding at the Sky News anchor Kamali Melbourne when asked about what's happening with Palestinian civilians.
What about those Palestinians in hospital who are on life support, and babies and incubators whose life support and incubator will have to be turned off because the Israelis have cut the power to Gaza?
Are you seriously keep on asking me about Palestinian civilians?
Are you seriously asking me
about
what's happening to Palestinian civilians? The former Israeli Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett, said. You're a human rights attorney, Noura Erakat. Your response?
My response doesn't have to be based on any expertise in human rights. This is about morality. This is about decency. The fact that Naftali Bennett can get upset about Palestinian civilians and the death of babies in incubators should be indicative to us that Palestinians do not have the same right to survive, that we are not exacting an equality and a respect and a decency for all civilian life. We have set up this situation, Amy. We have set up this situation where Palestinians are expected to die. And what we are seeing in this moment is now an expectation that they can die in mass numbers, that they can die being in hospitals where they are cut off by electricity, by the Middle East's only nuclear power. The 11th most powerful military in the world. It's the 12th largest military exporter, and the United States and the European community is sending them arms. They do not need arms. This is not a security situation. This is not a failure of security. This is a crisis of political will.
Noura,
this is rather than normalize apartheid by inviting Israeli President Isaac Herzog to the Congress, Congress should have mobilized for an immediate imposition of sanctions in order to create a future where all people live, where all of us live, not just some of us.
Noura Erakat, we want to thank you for being with us, Palestinian human rights attorney, associate professor at Rutgers University.
Right. That's crazy, bro. It's just insane, like, how some people just don't get it.